Sinuous. Back off the street. Back off the street. Sinuous. Fire. Back off the street.
Yeah. This album consists of a bunch of tracks that didn't make it to official releases, and still dope enough to wanna put it on repeat quick, so peep this. Throw us in your CD player. Oh, I forgot they're non-existent, dog. Shit has changed major. So scratch that, throw it in your iPod player. Like, my God, he write hard, I ball on you fakers. Yo, they throw backs and give it away for free like, oh boy. Go and make noise when you hear, hope you jump for joy. I'm optimistic, glass ain't half empty, it's half full. Hopefully by now you know me from the Jazz Council, that was years ago. So I brought more fire to douse dudes and playing by house rules. I'm laid back like a couch crew. I'm that dude to make his own beats, writes his own rhymes, records his own shit. Probably why it takes so much time to put out an album. Man, I'm always behind schedule. Ain't that I ain't hungry, I just always got my plate full. Try to digest all the topics that I'm spitting. You need to sit back and actually take the time to listen. We living in a new age where mind states are feeble. Kids' attention spans are shorter than Danny DeVito. My beats though, be banging, be about my business. Bass stays knocking like a Jehovah Witness. Leave them scattering with chattering, the gang of rhyme patterns. I ain't worth challenging, you all need some aspirin. Aspiring to be me, no empires to feed. Just a chosen few that's flowing through, firing up the weed. Jesus, crazy what the world coming to. I'm here to live it, make music. For y'all is just hanging on a gimmick, huh? Wait a minute, man. Don't get me confused with none of these newbie ass rappers, man. I know the game.
What is going on, folks? Happy Tuesday. It's painting day. I'm excited. I feel like I haven't painted in like a week. How is everybody doing today? I hope they're doing well. Claudio, Alessia, Milan, Vlad, Nicholas, good to see you all. Cheers to each one of you. It's a painting day. I did a little bit of 3D stuff, maybe like 20-25 minutes. Just quickly this morning, after I woke up. It's a gorgeous day. I got the window open. I'm sorry if we hear some trucks and stuff. Got the blinds down though, so we keep our black style going. But let's go ahead and I'm going to explain what my plan is today, which I might deviate from, at least where I'm starting from. But we can watch quickly like the modeling that's going on. There's nothing like fancy in it. As if you've seen the rendering, you already know there's nothing fancy in it. That is faux show. Okay, right screen. Let's see, transition. Boop. So I fixed some things that I wasn't totally thrilled with. Honestly, I'm not sure how much any of this is going to help me for what I'm going to do. But James, what's going on, buddy? You know, you're forgiven for your terrible decisions on the judging yesterday, but I'm happy to have you here nonetheless. If Martin's listening or he's listening later, I love the naked astronaut. That made me chuckle. James, I disagreed with you fully and thoroughly on that, but I enjoyed that episode a lot. It was a very interesting conversation, I thought, that you and the rest of the judges had. Really enjoyed it. David, Benjamin, what's going on, guys? So yeah, as you can see, there's like literally, I think if you were starting 3D today for the first time, you could produce basically what I produced here. There's like absolutely nothing going on. And I tried some things that like I thought might be cool and they don't really fit into this composition. We'll try them again some other time. So let me talk through what my thoughts are for today's painting. I'm thinking I've already made like the little line outline. I just used Topaz Simplify for that, which is going to give us like basically like the guide drawing to paint underneath of. And I have a bit of a mood kind of in mind. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I think the last time that I was painting, I'm painting from like a white canvas with color. I think what I did was like I jumped into kind of like, well, what color is grass? Green. What color is sky? Blue. What color, you know, like, and I wasn't using like primary colors, but kind of. And I think I'm what I'm going to try, or at least how I'm going to start this painting, I think, is in kind of a little bit more of a watercolory style, which is to say, kind of just like start from like white or close to white, and then just kind of like slowly build up color and contrast, which is not kind of intuitive to me. But I'm curious to see what happens with it. And so that's kind of the game plan. I don't think I'm going to do... We found in the past, right, that like putting a sky in and letting that set the overall mood and then working back from there is an effective way to work. At least if I have a sky to begin with. There's not much room for a sky in this image, and that might get filled with some background buildings. So I'm not going to do that. Not because I don't like that method or that I didn't find it successful, but because I just want to try some new stuff. I think I'm just going to I kind of have the idea of an overcast, like very soft lit day in my head. Maybe it's wet. Maybe we get some like rainy reflections. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see as we go along. But that's kind of like where my head's at as far as starting goes. And you can see, like, right, I mean, we've only been watching this for a minute or two, but you can see that not much changed from last time, or from yesterday. Nothing significant, anyways. And so I think that's pretty close. I think I add one little thing in at the base of the columns, which, drawing ellipses in perspective is not something I really know how to do. So that might be helpful. Maybe not. Who knows? Just learning. What is going on, Jay, Nitten? Good to see you guys here. The other thing that I should note is I'm not thinking of this as like a speed exercise like we did last week. The speed exercises, I really like working quickly, and I like using that as like a test of what's going on. But I think that when you're trying to learn something, experimenting, taking your time. So hopefully, like, by the end of this, like, my kind of like personal goal for the next hour is that this looks kind of like a painting and it's kind of moving. Like, I feel like I know the direction that it's moving in. That's what I'm hoping for. With regards to Procreate, Nitten, interesting you ask. I've not opened that app. I have not had really any free time in the past 2.5, 3 weeks. Besides this little hour that I've been carving out for the live streams, but I did find a moment to order those paper-like covers, and they're actually supposed to arrive today. So I do plan on playing with Procreate, but I have not yet. I'm excited for the covers, so I don't have to deal with the hard plastic on glass sensations. So I'm excited for it. I have not forgotten about it, but I've not done anything with it yet. Okay, let's see here. Let's transition over to the Cintiq. James, happy anniversary to you. 18 years is amazing, and really the only bad decision I'm saying is a bad one was the decision to get rid of Martins. That's the only one I'm criticizing, my friend. But congratulations, 18 years. That's amazing. Congratulations to you and the missus, and really the family as a whole. That's super exciting. I hope you guys did something fun besides live stream on your anniversary, and yeah, congratulations. That's an amazing achievement. Super duper exciting. Okay, so what do we have going on? Let's see here. I think this is the layer that we want. Let's put white behind it. Yeah. So we'll put all this as like old stuff. Let's see here. Let's move some things around here so I can actually... I'm gonna move the chat. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? We gotta get our... Oops. We're working. Here we go. Maximize it somewhere. There you go. When I forget to do this beforehand, it always goes into like its default freak out. You have too many monitors that you keep turning on and off going on. And Jay, I think I saw an anniversary post from you as well recently. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm right, congratulations to you too, buddy. Hope you and the missus did something special. Oh, and you already said it in the comment, so congratulations there as well. There are anniversaries everywhere. What a wonderful thing. Okay. Jay, you and I are in similar boats. We are it'll be 4 years in October for me and my wife. And who knows, I'm guessing you guys didn't go anywhere for it, given what's going on in the world. But hopefully you guys, did some dinner, watched a movie, did something special. Maybe went for a nice walk. Okay, so here's my thinking. I'm thinking I want the whole thing to be kind of bluish. So we're just going to kind of go and start laying in some colors, but keeping them. I'm thinking, you guys can see my cursor up here. I was thinking I want to stay like in this like desaturated like mid-tone range. And then kind of slowly build up. Patience is not something I exercise very well. So we're going to see how it goes. But that is the idea, for starting. And just trying to kind of like quickly rough in. The idea of the light's kind of coming from the same place that it was in like the super rough rendering, right off to the right is kind of like even on overcast, like flatly lit days, there's still a bit of directionality that I want in this. And so we're just gonna start kind of filling it in. I guess one of the things that I'm kind of hoping for overall, and like I imagine it'll happen naturally, the more you practice this kind of stuff, right? Like the more this kind of thing kind of starts to work, I think, is kind of find something that like works and feels right for me. I don't know what that'll be, who knows? But, and then that would be darker. I expect there's gonna be quite a few like kind of random silences, as I actually have to kind of think about what I'm doing here. And it is not lost to me that I'm using like oily type brushes and trying to work with a in a watercolor fashion. But hey, we'll see. We're gonna see what happens. This also kind of goes against my other gut instinct, which is to kind of get everything into place all at once. We'll see. I don't know. As per usual, I only barely know what I'm doing on here. But maybe it'll end up somewhere good. Hopefully, we will see. Nicholas, I like the way you described that as a coloring book, because kind of what I'm thinking would be fun to be able to do is use 3D like a coloring book, right? I think that at some point I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and really learn how to like draw something like the line work that we're looking at here. I think at some point I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. But until that happens, and I think that's gonna be a slow process. My hunch is that it's going to be a slow process. And until I get to the point where I can take some time and practice that, I think that's a little too yellow. That's okay. That's kind of what I'm thinking of 3D as, is like something I can use as kind of a cheat, so that I don't have to, completely learn how to draw. At least not immediately, right? So we'll see. I know that we're gonna want her kind of silhouetted, and I think that we're gonna I think we want her, let's go even darker, and let's put her on a layer on top so we can keep painting underneath her. I think the kind of idea that I have for her, let's get her feet kind of locked in. For those of you wondering, my drawing studies in the morning have come to a complete and utter halt. And I always have to, the opposites line up when you walk. I do this like every time I need to figure out, like, arms are, and then you try to walk and you're like, wait, am I thinking about it or not? Arms match the opposite leg. So if this one's forward, then this arm's gonna be going back, and there might be like a little arm coming out there. Let's turn that off for a second. That kind of feels right. But you can see how much like we've lost like all the definition of this thing. Whoa. Well, I guess not all of it. Yeah, that was a weird little brain fart. Let's get like a little idea of an arm here. Just so we have some kind of silhouette. And now this kind of pose, it feels to me, this feels like a person that's like excited about running up these stairs, and that's not really the mood that I'm going for in this one. So let's see if we can't just kind of let's see if we can. Basically, I'm trying to bum this person out a little bit. What would that look like? Maybe this. Maybe it's not so much. I feel like maybe this leg needs to come down a little bit more. Oh, nope. I don't want to paint with any other colors. I do want to keep this red on the top so that I can paint underneath of it. Maybe this leg needs to kind of come down. So it still looks like she's gonna go up the stairs, but it does not look like she's excited to be doing so. Is the thought. And we'll come back to her later. Yeah, she looks like she's really kind of digging into it, but we will see. BH Ghost, good to see you here, my friend. I'm not sure who you are, but I'm happy to have you. Are you a sitting thinker, Jason? A stationary thinker? I'm not an Ambi Turner. Okay, let's keep moving forward. What I definitely don't want to do is get too caught up on any major details just yet. I don't think these lights are on, but that might change. Like in my head, they're not turned on yet. But yes, that might change. We'll see. I can completely not now get out of my head this feeling that I'm working in a coloring book. That seems particularly apropos. That's okay. He doesn't like coloring books. And didn't like coloring books go through like this like huge like resurgence recently, like adult coloring books? Tell me if you guys have come across that. I feel like that's something I recently was hearing about a whole lot. Okay, so what are these guys gonna have? These guys are gonna have some shadows. Some of that will be drawn up. Nicholas, no, I'm not kidding when I say I quite like that idea. Because I feel like it also there's a nice like kind of like freedom you get. I feel like in 3D when that color, I don't like that color at all, but that's okay. We're gonna keep it just desaturated a whole lot. There's a nice kind of like freedom you get in 3D, knowing that it's just guide work. And I feel like the more that I practice with it, the more like I potentially be able to like let myself just be like, this is pretty sloppy, but like every instinct in my body was basically going through this period of like, okay, what you need to do. What was that? I think that was the wind. Every like instinct in my body was saying like, hey, you could just quickly slap textures on there and quickly like set up some lighting, and like really quickly you could end up with, you know, a much stronger base to work from. Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that method. We talked about it, I think, a little bit yesterday. I think if the goal was just to make something look cool, I think that would be perfectly reasonable. But that's not quite the goal here. The goal, hopefully, fingers crossed, the goal is to learn something and get a little better at this, because I don't really know what I'm doing. So we shall see. Let's start, let's start to bring some shadows in. Some heavier shadows. It's like we're only like barely down to midtones right now. One of the things that's not a surprise to me, but is still interesting, I think, to actually be going through. Whenever I've watched like a lot of, you know, actual people who paint for a living, concept artists and the like, that put up videos or anything of that sort, it is kind of always crazy. Like, even if we turn this line layer just barely kind of visible, you can see like when you take that off, you lose a lot. So, and the goal is to eventually take that off. So maybe what we do is actually turn it down. Something like that, so we can't rely on it quite as much, except for as like a guide, but it's not actually visually helping as much. Maybe, we'll see. At some point I'm gonna have to go in and paint all these steps, but let's get things, see if we can't get things starting to look a little bit better. Oh, yeah, wrong layer. That would solve that. There we go. That's what I was trying to figure out. Let's see if we can't kind of come in and put a couple little heavy edges in here. See how that starts to kind of start working. Strong, confident strokes. At least strong, if not confident. And I think we can see that my straight lines need some practice. I haven't done any of those line exercises in a while, and it shows. I gotta lock this layer. Okay, then lock that thing. Okay, there we go. Guess some of these are getting a little bit of light on the top, maybe. That whole area is a complete mess. We'll have to fix that. Okay. Jay, I can't tell you what it is. It's hiding at the moment. But Epidemic has some cool stuff on there. I can tell you what it is, actually. I can go back. I have it on shuffle. Let's see if it goes back. Yeah, I like this one. Perfect Time by Toby Tranter. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like even whilst trying to stay not super saturated, I feel like we still got, I mean, it's not, well, let's have a look. It's still pretty not saturated, but it feels really saturated to me. So we are just going to undo it. That feels more like where it's supposed to be. I'm just kind of sampling. I'm just trying to get a feel for like where these things are kind of living in the color wheel. Just kind of for my own feelings about things. Okay. I don't like this so far. Let's see if we can't figure out why. Let's see. On a new layer, let's see what happens if we just start to kind of abandon that initial idea. I'm going to turn this guy back up in opacity. Does that keep me from painting on it? Yes, it does. so that I can see a bit more. And I'm gonna go and say that I just don't like not being able to see any blacks, or something approaching black. So we're gonna go ahead and just say screw it. Screw that initial idea, and let's go for it. Let's see what happens if we kind of start painting in some of like the heavy shadows that I know I'm going to want in this. Alright, and that one. Let's maybe start to get these to start to feel a little something like stairs, right? So they should have some shadowing going down them, and I think highlights up above. Maybe put a little bit of saturation into this color. Nicholas, they are not homemade, or most of them are not. This one that I'm drawing with now comes from, I think his name is Walid Fagali, Evenant Art, Evenant. And I think if you sign up for his newsletter, he gives them to you for free. I don't think they were bought. He does a bunch of art videos, some of which I really like, some of which I don't like as much. But I have them playing in the background frequently while I'm working, if I'm not doing something that requires like my full attention. And yeah, this particular brush, I don't know if that's the name. I think it might just be called Ink 2. I'm not sure why. I like it a lot. It has like a very nice kind of high quality texture underlay to it, so you get these like nice kind of like fake canvas marks on it. I don't know if I adjusted it at all before saving it up into like my kind of like little favorite section up there. I can't answer that for you, and obviously I can't distribute it because I didn't make it, but you should check it out. Evenart. Yes, that looks right to me. Evenant. I think E-V-E-N-A-N-T. Evenant. I think he sells. I think he like makes a lot of classes that you can like buy, or like tutorial classes or workshops. Or I'm not entirely sure. He also has a YouTube channel where you can just watch stuff. Yeah, worth checking out, and worth checking out some of the brushes. And then some of them that I have, I've basically only been using this one today. But some of the other ones, I bought brushes from Sparth a while ago. And there's some of those that I quite like. And then I also still use some from Steambot Studio, I believe it's called. They have some cool books, they have some cool brushes. And then also iMad. He's another painter. I think I follow him on Instagram, and I think he gave out a bunch of brushes for free as well. Cannot tell you where. IMAD. I'd have to do some Googling to find out where that was. this line come across here. Go way back here. Thank you. I feel like one of the things, you watch like a lot of these digital painters and the like on YouTube and everything else, and almost always you watch stuff sped up, and in your head that it's sped up, right? That's not a mystery to you, and so you're like, okay, so like, yes, we're watching this whole amazing painting happen in 10 minutes, and like it really took him 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it might be. You know that that's the case, but I think that you still, like, you can't keep your brain from developing a set of expectations that, like, oh yeah, if you sit down for 10 minutes, you should be able to make it look awesome. The rational part of my brain knows that that's nonsense. And then the other part of the artistic part of my brain, emotional part or whatever else says, nonsense or not, I want it to be the case. Oh well. So I feel like one of the things that I'm not really voicing much right now, but that's like very much in my head, is like, okay, it's okay that this takes a while. Like there's a part of me that's like, it doesn't look cool yet. It should already look cool. And I'm just kind of telling myself, like, why? Why on earth would I expect it to look cool already? Because I started drawing on it 30 minutes ago. Come on, Mike. You have more patience than that. Too saturated. Like, that's barely any saturation. It still just stands out. Okay. Let's see what happens if at least we can kind of see the shape of things now, and there's a hint of steps. I feel like we're gonna need to do some detailing in, but I feel like the detailing of like the individual steps, I feel like that's probably something best that comes last, right? That'll be my thought. Let's see what happens if we just kind of keep working things and seeing if we can't get this kind of somewhere, sort of somewhere. I do feel like this is like a reminder of that thing that you hear a lot of artists say, and that I find myself having to like tell myself all of the time, probably every time I've done one of these, like live streams, right, at some point. And I think I've voiced it a couple of times, but in case not, like every image I've ever made, professional or not, whether I'm like super proud of how it ended or, wish it came out better, they've all at one point or another kind of hit that mark of like feeling feeling like they were awful. And, you know, like whether it's 3D and ArcViz stuff or just sketches, like you have an idea, you think it's cool, and then at some point or another you start getting that feeling that this is just, maybe I was wrong about all of that. Maybe I was wrong that this is not an interesting composition and it never will be. Like that's definitely what's going on like in my head at the moment. And all that I'm basically telling myself is that's okay. Just keep going. Just keep doing stuff. Which I think is such like an easy, simple piece of advice, but such an important one. So at least for me, like literally that's happened with everything I've ever made. At one point or another, I've hit that point of like, this is just garbage. Maybe I'm garbage. And it's definitely something you need to keep teaching yourself how to work through. At least I need to keep, I shouldn't say everyone, I have to keep teaching myself like how to work through that. And to remind myself that like, just because this isn't amazing right now doesn't mean A, that it won't become awesome if you keep working. But more importantly, even if I keep working and it doesn't turn out, that fact should have no bearing on what I think of myself as an individual or an artist or, you know, any of those things. Right? Because when you do something and it doesn't come out awesome, it just means you're trying something new to you, right? And that there's something to learn. That's a good thing. And second, I do find that more often than not, as long as you can force yourself to keep working and keep thinking somewhat critically about what you're working on, that's just not usually how it happens. But you need to push through that nonsense, which is, I think, easier said than done oftentimes. Excuse me. Definitely easier said than done oftentimes. And also just one of those things that doesn't seem to ever get really easier. Maybe it does in time. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. That's just strange. Can we move something? Oh. Maybe that was just another GPU error. I have no idea. This computer is just, I've stopped trying to figure out what it's been doing. It's been doing weird stuff. I haven't had a full crash in 2 days, knock on wood. And because I just said that, I am going to save. Hopefully. Save. I haven't had a crash in 2 days or so, like a full system crash. But there's just been like weird stuff going on. And I'm not even trying to figure it out anymore. I feel like that's a fool's errand. Just need to keep pushing forward. Finish the last 2 projects that are on like my current workload plate. So hopefully happen in, you know, by the end of the week or over the weekend at the latest. And then just wait for the new PC to show up. I am super excited for the new PC. And I lost my train of thought there, didn't I? Not sure what I was saying. You will definitely see the computer. The case I got is huge. I'm pretty sure I could fit my current case in the case that I ordered. But I feel like, you know, It's gonna sit over there underneath my desk. I don't care what it looks like. I actually like the way it looks, but I don't care that it's huge. What I do care about is that any upgrading I want to do in the future, I'm not gonna have to worry about size. Or I'm starting actually with air cooling all the way through, even for the CPU. All of the current like AIO solutions for the 3960 seem to suck. They do not look great at all. The air cooling, especially if you're not overclocking, which I'm not going to because I'm not doing any rendering on CPU rendering on it. It really seems like air cooling might be the way to go. But if not, I have lots and lots and lots of room for liquid cooling, should I need it. Forgot where that thought started. GPUs for rendering, I'm keeping my 2080 Ti's, of which I usually have 3. Currently I have 2, because one is getting RMA'd, and I'm starting to kind of lose faith that I'm ever going to get one sent back. So maybe I'll just get money for that and just wait for 3080 Ti's, hopefully in the fall. I'm sticking with that, but I am going with the Corsair Threadripper because it's got all kinds of yummy PCIe lanes for however many GPUs I ever want to put on that thing. And the motherboards for it are rocking. Jay, and that's the reason that I'm starting with all air, is because if I can do all air, and keep, like, you can probably hear fans now, that you may actually be hearing, there's a fan in this Wacom that's louder than it needs to be. Martin, if you're listening, an extra $20, get a silent fan into this thing. My GPUs, when they're rendering, it sounds like a jet engine. And so I'm kind of... The thing I don't want to have to do is do a custom cooling loop, because A, that terrifies me. I've never done one. I don't like the idea of taking apart my GPUs like you've done, even though I like the idea of liquid cooled GPUs. But then there's all the headache of when things break, everything gets more complex. So I don't know. I'm by no means, I haven't built a PC or been close to a PC whilst it's being built for years. We'll see how it goes. You should Google the case that I bought though. It's the Thermaltake Core W100. It's huge. It makes ATX sized motherboards look like phone motherboards. It's crazy. Might be overkill, but I'm still excited about it. Overkill be damned. And actually, strangely enough, besides hopefully not dealing with the system crashing anymore, the thing that I'm kind of the most excited about, as weird as this might seem, is NVMe M.2. My laptop has it. That thing can boot up and load Macs and everything else before this computer can open them in Windows Explorer. So as far as general quality of life computing, I think NVMe 2 is going to be a huge step in the right direction for me. I'm really excited about it. And then after that, higher single clock speeds for, making up for Max's shortcomings, basically, when it comes to that sort of thing. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder, one of the things I do see a lot of artists do, and I'm starting to think now why they might do it, is that when they're drawing under their line work, they start by like roughly blocking everything in, which I didn't really do, not cleanly anyways. Oh, Jay, you got the same one. Awesome. Nitin, as for that question, I am absolutely the wrong person to answer it. I don't really ever work on my laptop. I think it has like a 1070 max Q on it, and I never work in Unreal. So I have no idea. But I feel like I feel like 2060 is plenty for Unreal to work. It's probably the rest of your laptop, but you have to ask somebody else because I do not know. You're planning on buying a laptop? Why are you going laptop? Out of curiosity. I feel like, so I just removed like a ton of contrast, obviously. I feel like this is too contrasting in general. I feel like my love of this brush has blinded me to its shortcomings. I think I want to go with something a whole bunch like softer. It feels too kind of staccato for me. Yeah, Jay, I saw a picture of somebody who did literally put his old case inside of his thermal take case. I wonder if there's a better way to do what I'm doing. That's too contrasty. What happens? Just leave the blacks. Paint in light. Let's try that. Let's try that. And we should probably, let's go ahead and paint in the rest of these so that at least starts to look like it's a real thing. Give ourselves a little bit of a hint. Somewhere back there. Let's just kind of start to color some stuffs in here. Color by numbers, that's what I need. And this is actually probably... I'm thinking what I'm doing right here might be a mistake. And a mistake in this sense is I'm basically still kind of like coloring in kind of the shape of the 3D model, and maybe it's time that I just forget about that and just, you know, just look at it as I know what the thing is that I'm trying to paint, and let's just try to make it look like that thing in the painting as opposed to how it was rendered. Don't be a slave to what you've done in the past, Mike. You know that. You know that. Just use these when we need them, such as when we are trying to paint in some little highlights in perspective. Move for me, there we go. This is kind of fun. I have no idea what this is going to look like when I take the black lines off of it. Not quite what I was imagining, but, you know, what I think we can do, actually. Oh, it won't let me change it. I'll invert that guy. Let's mask it. Let's turn off that mask. Let's uninvert that in case we need to use it again. Turn that off so we can't see it. Haha, perfectly straight lines. This is like the Procreate perspective grid way of getting this done. And then we can also maybe paint in the shadow ones. Oh yeah. This seems like, I feel like this is something that the professor I had for painting architecture way back when I was in London at the AA was a big fan of this technique. All I have right now, I have all of the line work selected. And so I'm just kind of going in and, like you can see, that's from the original line work, but I'm painting in with the color. It's kind of cheating, but you know something? I'm pretty happy about it. So I'm just going to roll with it. Because, hey, I am all for cheating, basically. Let's see. Use it where you can. Ooh. Ha-ha! Now we're painting with fire. I mean, it does feel a little dishonest, but I kind of like it. Ooh, yeah, that's a tough call. I remember even when I was buying my laptop, and I was only buying it for the reason of having something in for workshops and stuff like that, and for talks. Even when I was buying it just for that reason, it was really stressful because you have to make a lot of compromises, which is you know, just not fun. Milan, I'm sure that she probably has heard me talk about my love of cheating when it comes to artworks. And hopefully she doesn't assume anything else. Though to be honest, anyone who kind of knows me knows that, like, man, that's my tolerance for hassle is so low that such a thing would never ever even occur to me as a viable thing to do. Never done it in the past. The biggest thing, besides, like, you know, we're not going to go down like an ethical route of like any thoughts on that topic of infidelity or anything else. The thing that I really can't wrap my head around isn't the ethical questions about it. It's like the hassle. One of my friends was recently telling me about one of his friends who, like, found out that his girlfriend had been cheating on him for like years. Which I guess it's like your girlfriend after years. Either way, this isn't about judgment. The question that I have is like, wait, so for years you've been maintaining like 2 relationships? Even if one is like, you know, just a fling for fun or whatever, like, how do you have the bandwidth to deal with 2? That is utterly inconceivable to me. Or like those dudes, like the pilots that have like families in 2 different places. Like, what the? How do you keep all that shit in your brain at once? Completely lost to me. I know this looks strange. I meant to change the brush that it was on, but that's okay. Let's just see this go multiply just a little bit, and let's change to a different brush so that we can soften that out just a bit. Then we can erase. It helps a little bit. I kind of like that. The contrast was in the wrong place. We're just going to keep moving forward with that. What is going on? Something selected? Opacity 100%, opacity 100%. Oh. Wrong tool. Way to go, Mike. There we go. Put them in like a robe? A robe kind of feels right, doesn't it? Ooh, we're repeating. Oh, we're over an hour. Heyo. I feel like that move, like it still needs a lot of work, but that little move kind of got it to a place where it starts to feel like it's what I'm looking for as far as a direction goes. Maybe it's a little too dark now. That's okay. I like this, and that's what we're going to call it for today. There's a part of me that wants to just spend like the rest of the day continuing to paint on this guy. But work precludes that. But I do like stopping at a place where like I'm happy and I know the next things that I want to do, which I feel like I do for this one. But yeah. All right. That was a fun day. Guys, as always, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. What do we got coming up? Thursday, I think we have Patrick on. I'm not sure. I have to confirm with him. We're all super busy. I feel like scheduling has just been a tough thing for us. Tomorrow, I think we're going to do more of this. Friday, we'll do paintovers. So if you guys have something you want me to paint over, let me know. I don't think I'm going to have any time between now and tomorrow to work any more on this. So I think we're just going to pick up right where this is currently. I kind of like where it's going, and I see lots of things I can improve, but I feel positive about it, and I know the next things that I want to paint. The next things that I want to paint is that, like, I like how the light is starting to work, like, kind of on these soft pillars up here, but that doesn't happen, like, at all on the steps, right? Like, we just kind of have, like, a rough idea of a shadow, and we don't have a sense of light. I should have thought through what a pain in the ass painting steps was going to be. I kind of did. I think I even mentioned it. But I think that that's where we're going, and I think we might start adding some reflections, and I think I might turn those lights on. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about that tomorrow. But anyways, that's at least what I'm thinking right now. I'm excited to continue painting. I'm going to hold off until tomorrow. Until tomorrow, guys, be well. Take care of one another. Make something cool. And thank you for being here and hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. I hope you and yours are staying safe and healthy and all of that fun stuff as this thing continues to drag on. Though a lot of countries are doing pretty good. And my hats are off to you and your country if you're one of those. I was seeing the chart of like all the cases, and a lot of countries now have gotten to like where they have a big peak and then it came back down to almost, pre, outbreak levels. And like the United States, like we have the biggest spike of everybody's, and ours, like we got to the top and we're not really growing anymore. We're just keeping level, which is like typical. So if you guys are starting to be able to go outside and enjoy yourselves, please do so. Conscientious of everybody's health and trying to get this better. And I'm happy to see that some of you guys have been successful in your countries of getting this thing under control. Maybe my country will get it together as well. Who knows? But guys, thank you. We will see you tomorrow. Awkward time, which I'm kind of thinking about beforehand, so it's not even that awkward anymore, but we're going to keep the tradition alive. We've got 2 beeps. Boop. Thank you all. Beep.